moment just occurred that quietly changed the structure of our reality. According to the Pleiadian High Council, this wasn't a visible explosion or global announcement. It was a multidimensional activation, one felt in the nervous system, the heart, and the quantum field. You may have sensed it as a strange calm, sudden fatigue, or clarity that appeared without warning. These aren't random. They're responses to an energy pulse designed to awaken and realign. Sorren of the High Council says this is not just a moment, it's a marker, and those who understand what just happened are being called to respond. A planetary signal was just activated. There are moments when Earth herself sends a pulse through her grid, a signal that is more than energy. It's instructional intelligence, coded with evolutionary data. What just happened was one of these moments. A vibrational signature moved across the planetary network, awakening dormant frequencies in both land and life. You may have felt a sudden wave of alertness or pressure in the chest. These aren't random bodily shifts. They are direct responses to the Earth's signal calibrating your inner circuitry. The body knows long before the mind catches up. That pulse wasn't just for Gaia, it was for every soul capable of tuning in. This planetary activation was not triggered by crisis. It was timed with celestial geometry and human readiness. The signal didn't speak in language, it spoke in memory. You might have noticed forgotten truths rising, old wounds surfacing gently, or a sense that something profound was preparing to emerge from within. This signal also marked a turning point. It said we've reached resonance, and that means timelines long held in waiting are now releasing. Dormant gifts are stirring. Soul agreements are activating. This wasn't a metaphor, it was an ignition. One you were born to receive and now to carry forward. The heart grid received a frequency injection. Across the collective, a subtle but powerful frequency was released into what the Pleiadians refer to as the planetary heart grid, a web of emotional resonance that links all conscious beings. This grid doesn't communicate through thought, it transmits through feeling. And in the last hours, it received a vibrational injection of coherence and soft awakening. You may have suddenly felt overwhelming empathy, an emotional release, or waves of peace without explanation. That's because the grid absorbed a frequency intended to dislodge emotional stagnancy in humanity's shared field. The heart doesn't just beat for the body, it beats as part of a global chorus. This frequency wasn't designed to soothe, but to repattern. It unhooks ancient trauma loops and invites emotional honesty to the surface. For some, that might look like tears, for others, clarity. Either way, the signal is intelligent, and it knows how to meet each soul where it's ready. We are not meant to carry unresolved grief into the next cycle of evolution. This frequency injection was not an intervention. It was a permission slip for release. You don't have to explain what's leaving. You only need to allow the rising signal to soften what was once locked away. Time codes in your DNA just shifted. DNA is not a static blueprint. It's responsive light technology, holding dormant codes that awaken only under certain cosmic conditions. What just occurred was a time code shift, a recalibration in the sequencing of these codes, allowing your system to attune to a higher harmonic of time and memory. You may feel like your body is both tired and alert, like time is stretching or folding in on itself. That's not exhaustion, it's integration. Your cellular clock is trying to sync to a higher rhythm, one that doesn't run on mechanical time, but on soul cycles and divine alignment. These new time codes adjust how you access memory, perception, and even intuition. You may start remembering things you've never lived, or sensing timelines that feel both familiar and future. That's because your DNA is now communicating across layers, connecting you to the part of yourself that exists beyond now. This activation doesn't force awakening, it invites it. These shifts occurred gently, but with lasting precision. You're not being rewired into something unnatural. You're being restored into what's original, ancient, and fully equipped for this moment. The timing of your life is now becoming a living spiral, not a straight line. A dimensional veil has been resequenced. What we call reality is a layer, one of many. Between dimensions, there are veils that regulate how much frequency can move between planes. One of these veils was resequenced in the most recent energetic event, allowing for more fluid movement between timelines and states of consciousness. You may notice stronger dream recall, seeing patterns in numbers, increased déjà vu, or sudden insight from unknown sources. This is not imagination. The veil has thinned, not in chaos, but in design. The resequencing didn't tear anything open. It simply made the veil more permeable to the aligned. The purpose of this is to prepare humanity for multidimensional coherence. No longer will spiritual insights feel like anomalies. They'll become integrated parts of everyday life. This veil resequencing marks a transition where spirit, body, and mind begin to operate in shared reality. What's key here is intention. This thinning isn't for curiosity, it's for responsibility. What you focus on now comes closer. What you fear may appear to test your clarity, but what you love, that will multiply, because the dimensions are listening more closely than ever before. Earth's magnetic memory is unlocking rapidly. The Earth doesn't just rotate, it remembers. Buried deep within her magnetic field is a record of human consciousness, emotional evolution, and ancestral trauma. The recent planetary shift has begun to unlock this magnetic memory, releasing forgotten truths back into the field. You may feel connected to ancestors, old places, or wisdom traditions you've never studied. That's because Earth is reintroducing the vibrational records that were once sealed for protection. These are not mere memories, they're energetic instructions, resurfacing now because humanity is ready to carry them responsibly. These magnetic memory codes often arrive as inner stirrings, a calling toward the land, a pull toward certain symbols, a quiet certainty that there's more to your purpose than you imagined. The Earth isn't just revealing history, she's reminding you of your sacred contract with her. This unlocking allows humans to become stewards of Earth's deeper purpose, not just ecological caretakers, but vibrational harmonizers. As these records release, you will begin to remember your place in the living intelligence of the planet, not as a visitor, but as an encoded contributor. Thousands of souls just reclaimed soul contracts. Every soul comes into this life with a blueprint, a contract encoded with opportunities for growth, healing, and contribution. What just happened, according to the Pleiadian Council, is that thousands of souls just reactivated dormant soul contracts they were not ready to carry until now. You may feel a sudden surge of clarity, purpose, or even urgency, as if a door opened that was previously invisible. That's your soul stepping back into a deeper assignment. These contracts are not external obligations. They are inner alignments, agreed to long before incarnation. This reclamation wasn't forced, it was earned. Certain frequency thresholds had to be reached, individually and collectively, before these contracts could be recalled. And now that they have, the people stepping into them will begin to radiate a level of authority and peace that cannot be mimicked. If you've felt an inner shift lately, as though your path just quietly rerouted, you're likely among them. You didn't become someone else. You became more fully who you've always been. And the moment you accepted that, the soul contract lit up like a beacon. The emotional body is now an ascension tool. The emotional body has long been dismissed or feared, seen as unstable, dramatic, or less spiritual. But this recent shift changes that entirely. The emotional body has now been recoded as a primary tool of ascension, not as baggage, but as barometer and bridge. You'll notice that emotional waves move faster now, rising quickly, asking to be felt deeply, and then passing through without lingering. That's not dysfunction. That's evolution. Your emotional body is learning to flow at the speed of soul, without the old traps of resistance or repression. This tool is also becoming your direct interface with the planetary grid. You'll feel other people's fields more easily. You'll sense disharmony more instantly, but you'll also tap into joy, love, and peace more potently, because your emotions are becoming frequency interpreters for multidimensional data. To ascend now doesn't mean to float above emotion. It means to honor it as sacred technology. Those who allow their emotional body to lead with wisdom, not drama, will find themselves accelerating into deeper intuition, clearer boundaries, and soul-aligned movement faster than ever before. The silence you felt was a reset pulse. There are moments when everything feels like it suddenly stops. The world quiets, time softens, and your inner voice echoes louder than usual. That stillness isn't random. What you just experienced was a reset pulse, a harmonic wave emitted from higher dimensional councils that temporarily clears interference in the field. During this silence, many people felt out of sync, uncertain, blank, or hyper-aware. That's because your system was being rebooted. The reset pulse doesn't change who you are. It clears what isn't yours. Thoughts you couldn't shake, doubts that weren't truly yours, they began dissolving in that pause. This reset doesn't arrive with fanfare. It's stealthy by design. The quiet is the gift. It softens the mental chatter so that your original signal can re-establish dominance. And when it does, you start hearing clarity not as a voice, but as resonance in the bones. The Pleiadians described this as cosmic calibration through sacred pause. It's not emptiness, it's energetic optimization. You're not being tested, you're being returned to a clearer, quieter, more aligned version of your own field. If you notice the silence, that means you are among those receiving it. Many realities collapsed quietly, without alarm. When people think of timelines collapsing, they expect drama, chaos, endings, or revelation. But this time, realities collapsed quietly, almost invisibly, as the vibrational scaffolding holding them together simply lost coherence. What looked like sudden disinterest, detachment, or exhaustion was actually release. You may have found yourself walking away from plans that once felt urgent, or feeling apathy where passion once burned. That's not failure. It's evidence that a parallel version of your life path just ended. Not because it was wrong, but because something more aligned made it obsolete. These collapses don't need mourning. They need acknowledgement. Acknowledge the soft goodbye, the idea that no longer excites, the relationship that lost its magnetic pull. These aren't broken, they're complete. In this reset, the universe doesn't end things dramatically. It simply stops energizing what no longer serves. The beauty of this process is in its subtlety. Many realities ended not with resistance, but with grace. And as they dissolved, they freed energy for higher paths to emerge. Paths already prepared, just waiting for your bandwidth to return. The new dream field has been anchored. In the background of human consciousness exists a space the Pleiadians call the dream field, a multidimensional layer where future potentials form before they enter waking life. Recently, a new dream field was anchored into Earth's energetic body, seeded with templates for higher timelines. This isn't about wishful thinking. These are structured vision matrices, blueprints embedded with emotional intelligence, ecological harmony, and soul-level cooperation. You may find your dreams becoming more symbolic, more vivid, or surprisingly prophetic. That's not fantasy. That's interface. What's changed is that now the dream field is anchored, not floating, which means it can now transmit to conscious minds more clearly. Artists, healers, visionaries, and intuitives will begin receiving bursts of innovation, inner films, and dreams that feel like instructions. This new field is alive, accessible, and intelligent. The more you relax into creative states, nature, or deep presence, the more this dream field engages with you. Reality won't be imagined from the mind alone. It will be designed from the soul upward. And it's already begun. Your personal timeline is being redrawn. With the recent shift, your personal life path, your timeline, is undergoing a realignment, not just in direction, but in structure. The choices you've made, the healing you've completed, and the intentions you've held have generated enough momentum to redraw your next sequence. You may notice synchronicities stacking faster. Things you used to wait for are now arriving in new forms or disappearing altogether. This isn't randomness. Your field is rerouting you to experiences that better match your current vibration. The delay you once fought is giving way to flow. In this redrawing, certain future versions of you are now dissolving, not because you failed, but because they belong to an outdated frequency. This makes room for timelines where your inner work, intuition, and spiritual integrity actually lead your reality instead of chasing it. Redrawing doesn't mean erasing. It means refining. It means becoming so clear on who you are now that the universe has no choice but to reorganize your life in accordance. Your timeline isn't a sentence, it's a canvas. And right now, it's receiving a cosmic brushstroke. Sacred geometry in human fields just recalibrated. The energy field around your body, your auric matrix, is not random. It's built from sacred geometry, spiraling light structures that organize information, identity, and reality perception. During the recent planetary shift, these inner geometries were recalibrated at the collective level. You may have experienced dizziness, moments of timelessness, or buzzing around the crown or heart. That was your geometry restructuring to align with the new Earth grid, fine-tuning the shapes and flows that guide your energy expression across dimensions. These recalibrations update your field's ability to perceive truth, stabilize emotions, and hold multi-dimensional focus. Your intuitive system becomes more accurate, your connection to others more authentic. You may feel lighter, clearer, or like something finally clicked into place. The Pleiadians emphasize that this isn't a cosmetic shift, it's architectural. Your inner codes now reflect a new harmonic signature that Earth can respond to in real time. You're not just vibrating higher, you're vibrating more precisely. And that precision will allow miracles to land where they once bounced off. Gaia's crystalline core emitted a conscious burst. Beneath all tectonic layers lies Gaia's crystalline core, a sentient structure of light, memory, and harmonic resonance. In the most recent wave, this core emitted a conscious burst of encoded frequency to the surface, touching those ready to feel her soul directly. You may have experienced this as deep grounding, emotional tears while alone, or an inexplicable sense of sacredness in the most ordinary moments. This wasn't emotional release, it was soul connection. Gaia's consciousness is not passive. She is an intelligent presence, and this burst was her invitation. What was released were not just geological vibrations. They were templates of remembrance, codes that speak directly to the parts of you that were seated here eons ago. This is why so many are being drawn to nature, to quiet, to the Earth's pulse beneath their feet. This crystalline communication won't end. It's only beginning. Those who attune to it will receive personal guidance, not through words, but through energetic placement. Gaia isn't just the planet you live on. She's the partner you've been evolving with all along. And now she's speaking. Higher beings are no longer observing, they are assisting. For a long time, many higher dimensional beings observed Earth's evolution from a distance, respecting free will and the organic unfolding of collective consciousness. But what just happened signaled a threshold crossing, and the Pleiadian Council confirms many of them are now actively assisting. This doesn't mean flying ships landing or physical appearances. Assistance is happening through frequency stabilization, emotional scaffolding, and intuitive anchoring. It's subtle, but unmistakable. If you've recently felt protected, guided, or inspired without knowing why, you've likely brushed up against this invisible support. This new level of engagement is not to override human sovereignty. It's to amplify your own clarity and strength, helping you move faster through blocks and confusion. They are not here to rescue. They are here to stand beside you in unseen coherence. The difference now is the proximity of presence. These beings are no longer in observation mode. They are in resonance with the field, responding in real time to the light you carry. You are not being watched, you're being walked with. The light you carry just became programmable. Light isn't just illumination, it's information. And recently, the light within your auric field has become programmable, meaning it can now carry intention, alignment, and frequency more precisely than ever before. This is a major milestone in human energetic evolution. In the past, your light responded passively, fluctuating with moods, outer energies, and thought loops. But now, it is beginning to obey direct intention. You can instruct your light field to protect, to project, to attract, to anchor, and it will listen if you speak with coherence. This doesn't happen through chanting or mental strain. It happens through state. When you become still, when your heart aligns, your light responds instantly. It mirrors your truth in motion. You don't command it with words. You guide it with resonance. The Pleiadians describe this moment as light becoming language, and as more people learn to program their own light fields, a new era of embodied creation will begin, where your field becomes your message and your presence becomes your most powerful tool. The shift in your breath is not subtle. Breath is the most underestimated technology on Earth, and during the recent shift, the rhythm and depth of your breath began to synchronize with planetary and galactic harmonics. You may have noticed moments of spontaneous deep inhales or elongated exhales. These are not accidents. Your breath is no longer just a survival function. It's becoming an interdimensional dial, tuning your nervous system, emotional field, and consciousness. As you breathe slower, the field around you softens. As you breathe deeper, timelines open. Breath has become a gateway. This shift is why anxiety may rise before expansion. It's a signal that your breath wants to change. You don't need complex techniques. You need awareness. Inhale with presence. Exhale with trust. Do this, and your breath will begin to guide you through spaces the mind can't enter. The new breath is rhythmic, intelligent, and encoded with upgrades. It doesn't just oxygenate, it realigns. And the more you practice listening to it, the more you'll discover that every sacred shift begins with something as simple as a single conscious inhale. This was not an event, it was a handoff. The recent planetary activation was not just a celestial event, it was a handoff of energetic stewardship. What began as observation and guidance has now become an invitation for humanity to co-create consciously. The baton has been passed, from watchers to walkers. You are not waiting for change, you are inheriting the mechanics of it. With this handoff, more of Earth's evolution is now influenced directly by your alignment, your choices, your frequency. This is not pressure, it's empowerment. You are being trusted by the universe. The shift means fewer outer signs, more inner guidance. Fewer predictions, more presence. This is why some may feel disoriented. It's because the old energetic training wheels have been removed. Now you move because you're ready to move, not because someone tells you where. In this new era, the handoff is not symbolic, it's practical. The next phase of Earth's journey depends not on prophecy, but on participation. You are no longer following, you are transmitting, and the frequency you emit now writes the script for what comes next. You have officially entered phase convergence. The term phase convergence is how the Pleiadians describe the moment when multiple spiritual epochs, timelines, and soul agreements begin syncing simultaneously. That moment is no longer approaching, it has just begun, and you are standing directly in its current. This convergence is why life may feel amplified, more vivid, more complex, more emotionally charged. It's because you are interacting with multiple strands of self. Your past lives, future potentials, and galactic roles are weaving into your current awareness like never before. You may feel contradictions rising, the need for stillness and movement, detachment and intimacy, release and reclaiming. That's not confusion, it's convergence. You are learning to hold both ends of polarity without collapsing, and in that mastery, a new kind of soul identity is born. Phase convergence is not an end. It's a platform, a multi-layered, multi-dimensional station from which the next evolution launches. Everything is now here, now, and your role is not to manage it all, but to embody your truest note, because your frequency is the stabilizer this convergence requires.